All right, everybody, here we go. We're going to take a look at our next Figma exercise. It's going to be a small image gallery. This is one that's already done, so let's look at the kind of thing that we're going to try to create. On this big gray main frame here, I got 3 little thumbnail images, and then I have bigger copies of them. They're called hero images, and they're sitting offside of the frame. When I play this, here's the idea. It's just going to load up that one frame that has the little thumbnails. I have my trigger behavior set as a hover, so if I move my mouse over the top of the picture, it shows the larger image. If I move off of it, it goes away. Same thing here on the middle one. If I move my mouse over that middle image, you see the bigger picture. If I move my mouse away from it, then it goes away. And if I move my mouse over the third image, you get the bigger copy. And if I move my mouse away, it goes away. Now this could also be set to be this. I've got mine set for hover. So if the mouse hovers over it, the thing happens. But you could also make it so you have to click it. You can make it that way, so you actually have to click the thumbnail and then the bigger image shows up. That's going to be your choice on this assignment. So let's go to work on how do you do this, because this is what I want you to do on this assignment. Now first I'm going to hop over to, not to that, but to that. All right, so we're going to take a look at what's required here. You're going to need one desktop sized frame in Figma. You're going to put 3 small copies of pictures, and I provided some pictures on Google Classroom which you could use if you want. You don't have to if you don't want to. You could go get something of your own. It has to be school appropriate. You're also going to have what are called 3 large hero copies of those images, and those should match the thumbnails. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. And there's got to be a connection between the thumbnail and the hero. And then you're going to set up whether the event trigger is a hover or a click. It's going to be up to you. You're going to make it so when you either hover the mouse over the small copy, you get the big copy, or if you click the small copy, you get the big copy, whichever one you want. All of the instructions for how to do this are on this page. They're on the help page that is located on Google Classroom. And I wish my handout would not lag behind me. Okay, anyway, there we go. So everything that we're going to do here, creating the frames and creating the thumbnails and creating the hero images and connecting to the hero image, it's all on the handout. But I'm going to show you how. Whoops, sorry, wrong thing again. Let's get back to here. All right, let's go to work. It's a new design file, right? I always think that it's a good idea. It's a good idea when Figma actually loads up the way it's supposed to. There, that's better. All right, it's a good idea to name it. So up here in the top middle, I'm going to just call this going to be an image gallery. All right, so that's what I'm going to make. Let's begin this way. I'm going to take the frame tool and I'm going to go over here to the desktop section, and I want a desktop sized frame. So I'll just add one. Real quickly, I'm going to add kind of a fill color to that. You do whatever you want. I might even put a stroke on this one, about a 10-point stroke that's on the inside of the frame, and I'm going to start like that. Okay, so nothing big so far, right? It's one desktop sized frame, which I filled with gray and I stroked with black. Okay, next up. I need to put 3 what I'm going to call thumbnails, small copies of pictures on here on the frame someplace. Now you could do this kind of thing if you wanted to. You could draw a rectangle and then fill that rectangle with the image that you want and do that 3 times. You could do that if you wanted to, or I think it would work fine if you just go place image and you go find the thing you want, right? Now I'm going to use these pictures that I have. These are all of like different they're mountain images. And I have them available on Google Classroom if you want. You only need 3. I've got 4 available, but you only need 3. So I'll just take this one from Peru, and I'm just going to click it on there. Now, I don't want this to be very big, so I'm going to size this down, right? I don't want the thumbnails to be too big. And that's one nice thing about sometimes you're drawing a rectangle and then filling it with an image. You can control the size, but all right, so let's do 2 more here. I'm going to place image. That was Peru. I'll do Japan. All right, I'll just click that on there, and then I'm going to size it down. I don't want it to be that big. So I'm just going to size it down. Just, I'm not going to be super picky about how big do we make it. It's up to you today. I'm not going to be that picky about it. All right, now let's place one more image on here, and let's go France or Nepal. What do you think? Let's go to Nepal. And I'll just click that on, and I'm going to size it down because as it is right now, it's too big. I don't want it that big. So I'm going to size it down, and kind of like that. And I'm going to just, this is just me. I just like to line things up and spread things out. And I might even, you can do this if you want. I might throw on like an 8-point stroke around those images. And you could add things like an effect if you wanted to. But anyway, there we go. Excuse me. So those are thumbnails. They're smaller copies of the image, and they're on the frame, and so that's where we are right now. All I've done is create a frame, and then I put 3 pictures on it, and I've got them positioned the way I want, and I got them looking the way I want, and yippee, I'm happy. Okay. Well, I'm going to zoom back on this a little bit. I want to zoom out some, and I'm going to scoot this over, because the next thing we're going to do is put those same 3 images over here, kind of bigger copies of them over here, and you could probably just alt drag these and pull them over, but I'm just gonna place them again. All right, so what did I use? I used Peru, right? So I'll make kind of a bigger copy of Peru, and let's just size that up a little bit. Okay, so and these big copies, these are called the hero images, and they do not go inside that frame. Set them off to the side someplace, or they could sit up here or down here or whatever you want, but they need to be not in the frame. Okay, so set them off to the side. And so what else do I need? I need the place image, and I think I did Japan, right? Okay, so Japan. I'm going to sign. Well, no, I'll make that just a little bit larger here. I just maybe kind of a mess over here on the side, but that's all right. And then I need Nepal was my other one that I did. So I'm going to open up Nepal again and put that on there. I might size it down just a smidge. That looks pretty good. I just want these copies need to be bigger than the thumbnails. Thumbnails are small. Hero images are big. All right, and the hero images have to sit here off of the edge. Like this. Now, again, this is just me, kicks and giggles here. I'm going to add like a 10-point stroke to each one of these. A 10-point black stroke. And you don't have to do that if you don't want to. This is me being me, and I think you should be you. So if you want to add a stroke or an effect or anything like that when you're working on these, then do what you want to do. Okay. So the arrangement is made here. I've got one frame, right? My one frame contains 3 small pictures. Those are known as thumbnails. Outside of my frame, I have 3 larger versions of those same 3 pictures, and those are called hero images. All right, well, it's time to finish this thing up. It's time to make the connections and do the behaviors. Well, all right, so connections and behaviors are always done on prototype over here. Let's go. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot one thing. This is on the handout. Because we're going to be connecting to the hero images, they have to be what? Framed, right? So I'm going to have to come over here and do a right-click frame selection on each one of these. Right-click frame selection. You will not be able to connect to them if you don't frame them. You have to wrap them in a frame. So on each one of those 3 hero images, I just did right-click, frame selection, right-click, frame selection, right-click, frame selection. We have to do that. All right, now let's finish it up. Let's go over to prototype. I'll click on this first thumbnail. And this one I want it to connect to this guy up here. Boom. Okay. Now here's where you're going to make a decision. What do you want the trigger to be? It's going to be click or hover. I don't think any of these others are really going to, I don't think they're going to work very well. All right, so either on click or hover. And you can decide. Would you rather make it so that you have to actually click the thumbnail for the big picture to show up, or do you want it to just happen when the mouse hovers over it? What's the trigger? All right, well, I'm going to do click. All right, I don't want to navigate to. This is another overlay thing. All right, so I'm going to say open overlay. Centered is probably your best choice in this case. You could try some of the others, I suppose, but centered is probably your best choice. Trust me on that. I think you're going to want to say close when clicking outside. And for the animation, instant, or I'm going to do dissolve. I kind of like dissolve for this. And you could play around. You remember milliseconds? You could play around with that if you wanted to. All right, well, so let's set up the others. I'm going to click on this one, connect it to its matching hero image over here. I'm doing on click, but you could do hover. Open overlay, not navigate to, open overlay. Close when clicking outside. Dissolve. Okay, cool. Let's get the third one. All right, so we're going to make our connection. On click, open overlay, centered, close when clicking outside. I've got dissolve for my animation. Fabulous. I'm going to go back here and just select my desktop one frame here. I want to make sure that when I do my preview, I want to make sure that this frame right here, this desktop one, I could have renamed it. I really should be better about my habit of naming things, but I'm just going to click on that desktop one frame and hit the preview button, and let's check it out. All right, so it loads up that one frame. Sometimes it takes a second for the thumbnails to populate in and get loaded in. Now, I made mine so you have to click it. Nothing happens until I click. When I click on this, okay, when I click on a thumbnail, I get a larger version. That's what an image gallery very often is about on like a website. If I click outside of it, it goes away. If I click on this one, I get the big copy, and then I click outside and it goes away. If I click on this one, I get the big copy, and if I click outside, it goes away. Now that could have been hover, right? I could have set it so as soon as I hover over it, the big picture pops up. But I decided not to. I decided to make the trigger a click instead of a hover. You do what you want. This is exactly the kind of thing I'm asking you to make today. 3 little thumbnails that are on a frame, and either when I hover or click, I want to see the hero image show up when the trigger is activated. The trigger being either a hover or a click. All right, showed you how to do it right here. Everything is on the handout over here, and I posted these mountain pictures on Google Classroom in case you would like to use them. So this doesn't, and you know, if anybody sees how this works and thinks, ooh, I want to do more than 3, I'm never going to stop you. You can have a bigger image gallery than 3, but for this assignment, if you do 3 of them and you're successful and it works, then you've done it. All right, so that's the end of the movie.